What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at Worshippers of Cthulhu. A Cthulhu mythos-inspired city builder doing some unique things that I knew I wanted to check out when it was first announced not all that long ago, but in particular, this game launched on Steam just a few days ago on the 21st. With that in mind, there is actually also a demo that is available over on Steam as well if you'd like to download it and try it out for yourself. It seems to be a pretty sizable look at the game, which is probably the right move because this was an early access release, so some of these systems still have the chance to be refined, which is almost certainly going to be necessary because a little bit of it is rough around the edges. But broadly speaking, I've been enjoying what I played of it, and the general reception around it seems pretty good as well. But the general premise of this game is pretty straightforward. The central question is, what if you were leading a cult of Cthulhu worshippers trying to awaken him? Which means both managing that cult in totality, that is to say figuring out what resources you need, building a little city on multiple different islands, sending out horrors to attack other settlements as well so you can gain followers and captives to either sacrifice in your rituals or simply put to work after a trip through the Reeducator. And all along the way, I would say that surprisingly, given the genre, this game really manages to capture the feel of the universe, which I was curious to see. Now, I do want to call out, though, that this game does have some pretty mature elements to it that I'm actually not going to show in this video. So while I don't consider this the type of game anyone is likely looking to buy for any kids, it's definitely a mature title. Though the basics of the game are like pretty much any city builder, colony sim, etc. that you've seen more than likely. You have to gather resources with things like lumber mills or logging encampments alongside farms and things to gather stuff like corn or simply raise sheep, and you're going to turn those raw materials into goods your people need. Every roughly 10 minutes or so in game, you're going to be receiving new arrivals that act as your initiates and followers that you're going to put to work once you get a roof over their head, so they can perform the day-to-day functions, provided, of course, you don't want to sacrifice them, which is certainly a thing that's going to happen. And on occasion, while you're doing this, you're going to wind up dealing with little events that pop up that lead to either the accrual or detriment to your fanaticism. Fanaticism acts as a sort of like world tier system almost, where the more you worship Cthulhu and get closer to awakening him, the more lost to madness your little society becomes, which is obviously the goal. Now, some of the more interesting stuff, specifically to me at the very least, is all of the rituals and things you can get up to. Starting with the basic stuff like sacrificing or carving idols to Cthulhu in exchange for favor, which serves as your currency to unlock buildings, and often simply build them, but also more elaborate stuff, like you can carve up your followers, like literally carve symbols into them, which is one of the things I won't be showing here, which dictates like the overall proficiency of that particular worker, like what job they're good at, more or less. You can carve symbols into their back to guide what they're able to do for you. But much more interestingly, later on, you're going to get access to the ability to summon horrors at the expense of sacrificing some of your people, and these sea monsters are what you can send out to attack both ships and other settlements, and once you've cleared out all their defenses, you can conquer that territory, effectively giving you access to other islands to build up in your image. And all along the way, you're going to be continually battling with your society, what your followers need, what you need to build to keep them happy so you can gather the resources you need to continue to build and ultimately chase your objectives. Now, there is a sort of quest system at play here, at least for what is in place right now in early access, where you will be interacting with things like the Harbinger of Cthulhu, who gives you tasks and stuff to research and build all of this stuff. So it's somewhat guided, but it also does at the same time seem to be a somewhat opaque system hinging on a lot of that mystery, all in the name of awakening Cthulhu. Though all in all, I would simply say right now, as part of its early access period, while it is certainly a little rough in places, a few bugs here and there to be sure, I was pleasantly surprised by how much was on offer here. In fact, already, I would say they've done more than I was anticipating, especially with things like the individual rituals and stuff you can perform, and other systems that allow you to get pretty in-depth. Now, one thing I'm not wild about is that while it doesn't seem to be in play much here, there does also seem to be a sort of countdown, so to speak, where Cthulhu gets impatient, waiting for you to fulfill your tasks. And at the very least, I hope come launch they have a very adjustable approach to that particular setting, because I do imagine that'll turn some people away. But otherwise, so far so good. In fact, if anything, I'm more looking forward to it now than before I tried it out for myself. So with any luck, this game will have a successful run through early access, where a lot of these features get padded out and fully polished up, because I think this game in its complete state might definitely be worth keeping an eye on, as I certainly know I will be. So if you enjoyed this video, or you're simply looking forward to more coverage of this game when it eventually launches, by all means subscribe and stick around. And in the meantime, let me know how you feel about this one down in the comment section below, which certainly means to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.